Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, my beautiful pen friends, and welcome to another video with your host Andrew. So today you join me for I guess what you might want to call a flex off. None of them are actually really truly flex pens, but they are expressional. So we've got a JP Pens Nino Marino collaboration, which has got an elastic fine, elastic extra fine nib on there with a plastic feed. We've got a Leonardo Officina Italiano Momento Zero Grande in Arco, which has got an elastic fine on an ebonite feed. We have got a Ranga Pens Giant 9B, and we've also got a Santini Libra with a fine flex on an ebonite feed. So let's see how these pens perform, and let's roll the titles. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found that informative and entertaining. Yeah, I just wanted to do something a little bit different today for 2021. And I wanted to just give something a little bit more relaxing to look at. Hope you found it relaxing. If you didn't, oh well, I tried my best. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Now, one quick question before we actually get onto the actual comparison between all these pens. What is your favourite flex nib? Please leave me a comment in the section below and let me know what your favourite flex nib is and pen combination. And also, I'd be interested to know what are you looking forward to in 2021. Okay, so the JP pens is what we're going to look at to start with. Yeah, it's a great pen. When you prime it, it works absolutely fantastically. Unfortunately, if you don't prime it before you start using it for flexing, I'll emphasize on flexing, it does have issues, unfortunately. Unlike with the Leonardo, which you can actually just go straight off the bat, for some reason the plastic feed just doesn't want to keep up. And I'm sure it's a stock Yovo feed. So Yovo, I'm sure you're not listening, but if you are, then please do offer ebonite feeds with your elastic nibs, because that would make a world of a difference in my humble opinion. I know, having spoken to Nino Marino, he says it doesn't, but from my own personal experience of using ebonite feeds, it seems to be. For me, it seems to be. I obviously don't have the same sort of breadth and experience of Nino Marino, so I'm not going to say he's wrong, but in my own experience, ebonite feeds do generally keep up much better. I do know that you can tune plastic feeds so that they do keep up, but from the stock units, they don't seem to be doing it unless they are actually modified. So either modify the feeds so that they can keep up with the ink flow, or change it onto ebonite feeds. I think that would really work so much better. Other than that, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. The extra fine elastic nib isn't something which you see commonly on the market, even though it is an option. And I would love to see more companies offering it, because it is a great nib. Out of all the nibs, it does offer some of the widest sort of line variation, going from an extra fine point on, say, rhodia paper, which is verging more like I'd say like a fine, but it goes up to like almost like a double, or yeah, about double broad, almost a triple broad, dependent on how much pressure you put down. I do need to get Richard Brinder's nib comparison sheet so that I can actually do proper nib comparisons, and that's something which I hope to add in future videos. Now on to the Leonardo. So the Leonardo with the ebonite feed really does perform so much better. It does run out from time to time, and it certainly doesn't keep up as well as, say, as the Santini, but you can get a good 3/4 of a page worth of flexing at normal writing speed before it starts exhibiting issues. Again, you can prime it and then it's good to go again. But other than that, it really is great. My only sort of point of contention with the Leonardo is the fact that the fine elastic nib on there, it acts more like a medium. Certainly on Midori and Tomoe River, it's definitely more of a medium, even more like a broad on some papers, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, it would be quite nice if I can see what that would perform like if I got it ground to almost like an extra fine, and see how that actually performs. I might try and get someone from the UK Fountain Pen Club to do that in the next few months. I've got a few expenses to pay for before then, so it's probably going to be more likely this summer before I actually do anything with more adventurous with pens. And now on to the Santini. Santini perhaps are my favourite Italian brand when it comes to offering value for money and offering really interesting materials and different finishing techniques. Out of all the Italian brands out there, to have that sort of combination, yes, you know, you've got people like Monte Grappa, you've got Visconti, you've got Leonardo. They all do fantastic pens, and Monte Grappa maybe are a little bit more adventurous with some of their pens. Some of them are a little bit garish in my opinion. I won't go into that because I could rant, but Yeah, Santini really do offer a little bit of everything. They've got almost like jewelry-esque pieces, like with the Eiffel Tower. You've got the Taj Mahal. And you've got absolutely fantastic pens there. Even painted pens as well, which look absolutely fantastic. And maybe something which I'll add to the collection down the line when I can afford something like that. So what are my thoughts on the actual Fine Flex nib? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It just goes on for days. You don't have to prime the feed or anything. And the only time it starts exhibiting problems is when it's out of ink, which is a given. But yeah, it really is absolutely fantastic. The Evernight feed works really well with it in combination. And the Fine Flex nib, it offers more like an extra or even an extra fine point. And it's brilliant, absolutely fantastic. And when you pair it with something like Sailor Magno or any of the inks from that Magno range, which have got a lot of shading qualities, oh, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Definitely something you should consider. Okay, so now on to the Ranga Giant 9B, which actually, out of all the pens, is the surprise of the group. It is brilliant. For around about $60 you're getting an eyedropper pen, ebonite feed, ebonite body, handmade in India on a lathe, and it's just done to eye. I don't think the gentleman who runs Ranga pens uses any sort of measuring at all other than his eye. I may be wrong, but from the videos which I've seen, it certainly looks like everything is done by eye, and it really is absolutely fascinating watching the actual making process on the lathe, getting the tapered finishes on that sort of torpedo cigar shaped pen. It's amazing, absolutely fantastic, and I'd certainly recommend going out and looking at some of those videos. Now on to the performance of the pen. Other than the fact that it is an eyedropper, which is a plus and a negative point, plus because it's easy to actually fill up, plus because it gives you lots of inks. The negative is the burping, however. When you start getting a little bit lower on ink, it will burp and you do get issues, which is a bit of a shame. I had to do the video around about 4 or 5 times because it was depositing large amounts of ink onto the page, which was a bit unfortunate. But I still persevered and I got it done in the end. So yeah, really absolutely fantastic. And out of all the pens, if you're on a tight budget, I'd certainly recommend going with the Ranga Giant 9B. I think when you start looking at the JP pens and the Leonardo, what you're starting to pay for more is the materials which you're using and the craftsmanship, because the nibs are pretty generic. They are Yovo nibs, and that's not to say they're bad, but they are generic in comparison to, say, like the Ranga, which is a handmade nib in India, as is the Santini nib, which is a handmade nib in Italy. So you are getting a little bit extra, I would say, in the terms of value for money, certainly when you go to those two other companies. When you start making your nibs in-house, it can bring down the cost, from what I understand, and I believe that was one of the conscious decisions which Santini made from the get-go. I don't think they've ever used anything other than their own actual nibs, which is great. It really does offer fantastic value for money. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next video. Till then, stay safe and goodbye for now.